وما أرسلنا قبلك إلا رجالا نوحي إليهم فاسألوا أهل الذكر إن كنتم لا تعلمون.
بسم الله والصلاة والسلام على رسول الله وعلى آله وصحبه ومن والاه. Today inshallah we're going to talk about the mad in the Qur'an, the lengthening. The mad in Arabic is you can say extra or long. Its definition, we can say lengthening the vowel of the sound of the three mad letters under some conditions. The length of the mad is measured by harakat, vowel duration or counts, which are dhamma, fatha and kasra. Every vowel letter equals to one haraka. The definition of haraka, we can say it is the amount of time it takes you to pronounce one vowel letter. For example, the word kutiba has three vowel letters. So the letter of mad will be prolonged according to this measurement of the vowel duration. So it is so if the letter of mad is prolonged, for example, 6 harakat, meaning the time of the mad, the time of the sound of the mad should be equal to the timing of pronouncing a word with 6 vowel letters. All the mads in the Quran are based on the 3 mad letters. The alif sakina preceded by fatha, the waw sakina preceded by dhamma, and the ya sakina preceded by kasra. So all the Quran, all the mad is based on these 3 mad letters. There are another 2 letters which is they are called mad leen, which is waw sakina preceded by fatha and ya sakina preceded by fatha as well, like qawm, khawf, quraish, al-bayt and so on. So this one usually we prolong them if we are stopping at the verse which at the verse which has this mad. There are altogether 9 types of mad in the Quran, and they are the natural mad, al-mad al-tabi'i, the connect mad, lesser and greater, the substitute mad, the exchange mad, the required attached mad, the separate allowed mad, the mad with presented sukoon, the ease mad, the compulsory mad. So we can start with the first one, which is the natural mad, and all the other mad comes back to this, because this is the natural, and the other one is you just prolong it according to the conditions which we're going to mention. So the natural mad, or you can call it original mad, is simply one of the 3 mad letters that are prolonged 2 counts by a person with natural measure. Without these 2 counts, the 2 harakat, the letter of mad will not exist. The mad letters, as we mentioned before, is alif sakina preceded by fatha, like qala, waw sakina that is preceded by dhamma, yaqulu, and ya sakina that is preceded by kasra, qila. They are all combined in one word, like nuhiha or utina, udhina. All these words, they have the 3 mad letters within them. So when we prolong them, we should prolong them in the same measurement. The second type of mad is the connecting mad lesser. This mad comes out from the pronoun ha, which is not part of the original makeup of the word. It represents the third person, male or female gender. There is 4 conditions for it to be prolonged. 1, it is either voweled with dhamma or kasra. 2, positioned between 2 vowel letters. 3, the reader is not stopping on it. 4, it is not followed by hamza. So when the above 4 conditions are met, the letter ha with dhamma is prolonged into a letter waw, and the letter ha, so we have hu for male, he for female. So the letter hu with dhamma prolonged into waw, and the letter he with kasra will be prolonged into ya. If stopping on this letter ha for the male and ha for the female, we stop with regular sukoon. And the lesser connected med is dropped. So this only for if you're going to carry on. Yeah, if you're going to stop, the rules will disregard the rules. I'll give you an example. For example, إن هذه تذكرة. So هذه, it has ha at the end, which is for female. And if you carry on, we say إن هذه تذكرة. So you prolong it as the natural med. The ha for the male gender, إنه كان. إنه كان. So we prolong as much as the natural med. If we stop, we disregard the rules and we stop on it with just a normal sukoon. There are two exceptions of the lesser connected med. In verse 7, Surah 39, وَإِنْ يَشْكُرُوا يَرْضَهُ لَكُمْ يَرْضَهُ لَكُمْ وَإِنْ تَشْكُرُوا يَرْضَهُ لَكُمْ. Here there is no med of the pronoun who, even all the conditions are met. The second one is in verse 69, Surah 25, وَيَخْلُدْ فِيهِ مُهَانًا وَيَخْلُدْ فِيهِ مُهَانًا. So here we prolong. Here there is a med. Even there is sukoon before the pronoun he. So the conditions are not met, but we still prolong. The reason for these exceptions is the narration that Hafs recorded in his reading is like this. So we have to follow the narration. The third one is the substitute med. It is to substitute tanween for length alif with a fatha. Obviously one stopping on it only. The med takes place whether there is an alif written after the letter with the tanween or not. This rule applies only if stopping on the tanween with fatha. It doesn't apply to the other tanween, doesn't apply to dhamma, and it doesn't apply to kasra. Only applies to tanween or fatha. This med follows the natural med and is two harakat, two vowels. Example, ma'an. If you stop on it, we say ma'a. Bina'an, we stop bina'a. Shakuran, we stop shakura. Hudan, we stop huda, and so on. Exception to the ta'nith. This the ta'nith indicates female gender. It is written like a circle with two dots and two fatha top. Can only be found at the end of nouns. It is always read ha sakina, one stopping on it, and read so normal ta in the case of continuing, like صحف مطهرة لا تسمع فيها لاغية. So in the ta, this rule doesn't apply, because this ta, it will turn into ha if we stop on it. The next one is, the fourth one is the exchangement, which is if vowel hamza preceded a hamza with sukoon. The second hamza will be changed into a med letter from the category of the vowel of the first hamza, and its ruling, it follows the natural med. That means two count. For example, amanu utu imana. The original of amanu is a'manu. So we change the sukoon of the second hamza with according to the category of the previous hamza, the first one, which is the first one has fatha, so the second one we turn to alif. Utu, original utu, so the first hamza has a dhamma, that means the second hamza will turn into waw. Imanakum, originally imanakum, so the first hamza has a kasra, that means the second hamza will turn into ya. The fifth med is the required attachment. If a med letter followed by a hamza, which is presented in the same word, its ruling is you need to prolong 4 or 5. It doesn't follow the natural med, so you need to prolong 4 or 5. For example, Su al-adhab. So we have su, that's a mid, and then we have hamza with the same in the same word. Was-samai. So we have ma, harf mid, and followed immediately by hamza within one word. So here we need to prolong 4 or 5 according to the way of Shatibiyah. The sixth one, the separate allowed mid. If one of the mid letters is present at the end of the word, and the hamza is the first letter of the next word, its ruling is you need to prolong 4 or 5 from the way of Shatibiyah. Like وَقَالُوا أَسَاطِيرُ. So lu is a mid letter, قَالُوا is a mid letter, and there is the hamza at the beginning of the next word. قَالُوا أَسَاطِيرُ. قَالَ رَبِّي أَعْلَمُ. تَبَّتْ يَدَا أَبِي لَهَبٍ, and so on. So this one obviously follows the previous one, the required attachment. Now there is the great connecting lengthening, which the one we done the lesser, the 4 conditions of the ha ta'anith for male and female. The great connecting lengthening is the med comes from the pronoun ha with dhamma or with kasra. As we said before, it is not part of the original makeup of the word. It represents the third person, male or female. And it has a condition same as the one we done before. It has to be voweled either with dhamma or kasra, positioned between 2 voweled letters. The reader is not stopping on it. It is followed by a hamza. This is the 4th condition. It is followed by a hamza. The previous one, it didn't say it is followed by hamza. This one, if the pronoun of who or he is followed by a hamza, we don't prolong it 2 like we done before. We have to prolong it 4 or 5. It follows the separate allowed mid. So it follows the separate mid. For example, إن هذه أمتكم ولا يشرك بعبادة ربه أحدا أزواجه أمهاتكم. So the difference between them, the first one we done, when he says it, the lesser, it follows natural mad because there is no hamza after it. This one, it follows the separate allowed mad because there is a hamza after it. The 7th med is the presented sukun, med with presented sukun. Basically, it's a natural med followed by the letter of followed by a letter at the end of the word, which has been made second temporarily, because the reader has to stop at the word. Its ruling, the reader is permitted to prolong 2, 4, or 6 counts, harakat, when stopping on it. When not stopping on it, the last letter is read with vowel and the med letter is prolonged 2 counts as a natural med. For example, الناس. So we have seen after the med letter. So if we're going to stop, قل أعوذ برب الناس. Here you can prolong 2, 4, 6. قل أعوذ برب الناس. This is 2. قل أعوذ برب الناس. 4. You can do 6. قل أعوذ برب الناس. 6. This is if you're going to stop. So that's why it's called the represented sukun. The sukun is temporarily. You want to stop. If you don't stop, you carry on with just a natural. قل أعوذ برب الناس ملك الناس, and so on. The next one is the 8th one, the izmet. The letter of the izmet is the letters waw with sukun, ya with sukun, and preceded by fatha, and followed by 1 letter in the same word. And the reader is stopping on the word with represented sukun. Its ruling, the reader is permitted to prolong 2, 4, or 6 vowel counts when stopping on the word, like يوم البيت خوف قريش. For example, فليعبدوا رب هذا البيت. This is 2. You can do 4 بيت, or you can do 6 فليعبدوا رب هذا البيت. So you can do 4, 2 or 6. We're going to carry on. We're going to leave the 9th mid until next time, because it's got so much roots, and we try inshallah to simplify it as much as we can. Until next time, subhanakallah bihamdik, shadu an la ilaha illa anta, astaghfiruka.